from like the 60s being like the 90s or whatever to the early 2000s being like the
Yeah.
like 70s. And I
Yeah.
remember that there was like a huge comeback because like when I was a kid, I remember during that time like everybody's like, oh, I love The Godfather, and
Mm-hmm.
like like porno mustaches and like stupid like Eagles hair and like all that shit. Like I totally remember that. The 70s, like it's just funny because like I always grew up being just like, oh, that shit's like kind of fucking ugly. Like I don't really like fuck with that time
Right.
frame because like I was like I wasn't from there. Like it was like when my parents were a baby, but then like I kind of get it now. I was
Yeah.
listening to like Brian Burnett's like Solstice, like. Dude, that shit rules, man.
Yeah.
It's like it reminds me of, like also when I was a kid too. Like we watched like the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Oh,
Factory.
that was the
Yeah, that
best.
shit
I
that shit was
love
pretty.
that.
That shit was dope. Like Gene Wilder.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
there's some there. I think the 70s, like for as tacky and like weird as it is, I think it's like one of the most iconic decades.
Oh
Obviously, because
yeah.
you get like literally like five of the greatest like fucking series of all time
Oh
come from that. Like, what's crazy though is like I love how like unregulated and like dangerous everything was, like especially like even like the 80s, but like the 70s was like
oh yeah.
fucking worse. Like there was like just straight up atrocities that would happen on set, like fucking Warner Herzog. Like me and you
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sent you that documentary about him. Like, dude, this guy, like you think that Warner Herzog's like the innocent one too, because he's like the quiet. He's like, oh hello, I'm Warner Herzog, and like he's like at least he's not Klaus Kinski. At least he's not like beating up people
Yeah.
on set. But
Exactly.
no, this guy came out of the gate swinging, man. Like he in a really offensive way. Like his
Oh
first film was like about like it was like satirizing the life of like dwarfs and midgets, which I'm like, wow, man, this guy just like did not hold back. Holy shit.
oh.
And so what's crazy is that his family, when he was growing up, he was probably like a teenager, but his family took in Klaus Kinski to live
Mm.
with him, who's like literally the most like clinically insane fucking person ever. And yeah, this guy he would like tear up their bathroom. They said they tore up the tile in their
Oh
bathroom,
yeah.
so it was like you could sift through it with a tennis racket. Like that takes like unhuman, like freakish amounts of like what do you call it, hysterical strength.
Yeah.
but uh
Absolutely.
but like the one of my favorite Klaus Kinski moments was before he started in the movies with Werner Herzog. He had this live, it was like a live rendition of the Jesus Christ Savior, and
Oh.
and he was just reading it to be respectful, but like the crowd like quickly like misinterpreted
Uh,
of like Klaus Kinski like trying to be like a new Jesus, which is like fucking hilarious.
my
Like,
God.
and I love how like his immediate reaction, it's like the most German thing ever too, is just to like, and my stepdad's German, so it's like I totally know this, but just ranting and cussing at the crowd, like immediately having no sense of humor, but just being like, oh, okay, I'm gonna attack you now, like. I just thought it was fucking hilarious because he like comes to do a thing where he's like reading about like Christ and stuff, and then he immediately starts like demeaning the crowd, and he gets like sad and he like starts crying. I'm like, what a legend, dude! And he like goes out to the side of the stage and starts like reading it to people. And like the funniest thing about it is they had to have like the literal police come in and like intervene because it was so like insane. Yeah, that shit's fucking hilarious. And then the first movie, oh dude, I love I showed you this too, Aguirre, The Wrath of God. It's the one where
Oh yeah.
he's like a Spanish conquistador, and they literally they filmed it in South America. But the reason that movie is so amazing is that the shots, like he had the like Werner Herzog, the director, he's such a genius because he had the entire crew, like that opening shot, they're all like walking down the up and down the
Mm.
mountains, lift, and it looks like they were lifting all the gear from the ship into the mountains like they would in the 1400s or whatever the
Right.
fuck. And it's just hilarious because he would have the whole crew lift, and I mean they used to get like a whole bunch of Native American tribes to help them too, and they fucking hated Klaus Kinski, dude. It was so funny how much they like that, like they literally like were afraid of him. Like that's what they said. Like they thought he was like some like evil
Yeah.
spirit or something come to like taunt them, which is like fucking even funnier. Like he's like the Ezra Miller of the 70s, like instead of go to Hawaii like throwing chairs and people and shit, like and
You're
Klaus
right.
Kinski would like literally go like tribes tell their children about like the menace of what he was like. Like he was so bad that like they were like in these like brutal, just like unforgiving like apocalypse now fucking conditions in the jungle, and they finally bring some fresh food on the set and all this, and they're filming, and all the extras are excited as they go rush to the table to go grab some food, and Klaus Kinski gets like fucking pissed off, and he gets a real sword, and he starts screaming and flailing it around, and he literally fucking whacked this guy on the head, which gave him like a permanent fucking scar. I'm like, this dude just has like no regard. He's just complete disregard for fucking human life. The only reason I say that is because he's done it to like multiple fucking people. Like,
Yeah.
it's so good. And Yeah, I think that the movie really inspired El Dorado, though. You know, like the not the Disney movie, but like the DreamWorks movie El Dorado. Oh, I love that. That was a banger, dude.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's a good movie.
Oh, another thing he did on Aguirre Wrath of God was they're like all the natives, they were partying one night. They were having just I think a celebration of their holiday or some shit, and like it was pissing off Klaus Kinski because he was trying to sleep. So Klaus Kinski got a literal gun and he like fired it into the tent, which is like the most like just like it's like this is like a straight up homicidal maniac. But he's like they're like no, we need him to film. We need. And you know what's surprising is that when they filmed like Nosferatu, like that
Oh
was like
yeah,
surprisingly his least controversial role, which I mean I think that's pretty funny.
yeah.
And Werner Herzog, I mean he's pretty funny too. Like they literally like to teach people that anything could be on film. He literally filmed a movie called Werner Herzog Eats His Own Shoe. And like it's on YouTube, and it's like he's like literally boils his shoe, and he like you see him like slice the leather and like take like little bites out of it. It's like he ate everything but the sole. He's like is you don't eat the bone on a stick, so you wouldn't eat the sole on the shoe. It's like so, I'm like, dude, what a legend, dude. He's like, yeah, he's so awesome. And then Fitzcarraldo, you know that one's a banger, dude. That's like when it gets to the '80s. That's like the first. I think it was the '80s. Mick Jagger from the Rolling
Oh
Stones. He was
yeah.
like supposed to be in that movie, and I think he got cut. But
Mm.
yeah, they filmed that one in Peru, and it's about this guy who's like trying to get this like ship over like a fucking mountain or something like that, and it's like they're trying to, and they did that in real life. Like they brought like a real ass like liner ship from
Mm.
like that would be from that era, like maybe like the I don't know, like the 1800s, like
Yeah.
Victorian kind of shit, and they literally made way to bring it in the Amazon over a fucking like cliff and shit, and people were dying. Like this set was brutal. Like there was some guy, I think he got like bit by a snake, and he had to like cut his own arm off or leg off or something like to avoid dying. And Klaus Kinski was so narcissistic about it, where he got so mad that the attention was not on him when somebody was literally
Right.
fucking dying. Like
Oh my god.
yeah, he's such a piece of shit. But then like his freakouts were just like legendary in that movie though too, which is hilarious. That's why I talk about it, because like the extras again, they were like afraid of him. They thought he was like a kabuki,
Yeah.
like an evil fucking spirit. And they even offered to kill him. Like the tribe like offered, they went up to Werner Herzog. They said, hey, if it's okay, like can we like take him out for you? And then he's like no, like I need him to finish this movie. He's like then he's like leave him to me. Like he's like, and then apparently it got so bad where I think like Werner Herzog literally was like, hey, if you don't finish this movie, like I'm gonna kill you, like straight up.
So he threatened him.
And there's like that famous picture of like Klaus Kinski strangling him, like, and he like has this like menacing, like he looks like a fucking like Star Trek enemy. It's like so awesome. Oh man, yeah, that was a time, dude.
Oh.
You know what was also awesome was, you know, I always overlooked this one, but it was same kind of time area. I think it was late '70s, but it was the Warriors. Me and you,
Oh yeah,
Warriors.
Warriors.
But yeah, me and you talk about that one all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
I just gotta appreciate, because we were talking about the '70s. I just love, you know, fucking like especially the beginning of that movie. Like that's another one that starts out like a banger, dude. Like I love apparently the guy who plays Cyrus, the gang leader who gets
Mm.
shot in the beginning. The can you count, suckers? Can you dig it? Yeah, but that guy. So apparently he was supposed to be played by like a real fucking gang member, and then they got like he didn't show up obviously at the last
Right.
moment for the scene where all the gangs unite. So they got Roger Hill to play him instead, which
Mm.
is like I think that's fucking iconic. It's like the most
Yeah.
like I think that like if anything that's probably the most 1970s like that's like peak like
Yeah.
1977. That's when it like that's when the '70s like came right there basically. But you know I think that even they said it was during the time of the '70s before like Rudy Giuliani like fucking
Mm.
cleaned up New York. They literally, the director said that New York City was gritty and shitty. And it's
Right.
like you watch the movie and you're like, yep, that's it. Like they had to close down like one of the sets because apparently somebody there was like a homicide investigation going on. It's like crazy shit.
Yeah.
But I love that scene in the beginning. It's so genius, like that where all the gangs meet, and then Cyrus, the leader, is like, "We should all unite," and then he gets shot
Yeah.
by good old our friend David Patrick Kelly. warriors. But yeah, that scene was cool because they had real gang members in there, but they also had like real cops embedded in the crowd to make sure like no shit went sideways.
Oh, that's
And what was awesome was they, to make it look like organized chaos, like to make the illusion of chaos, they had people like run throughout the place, but in like straight lines opposite of each other, so it looked like they're all like freaking out and running, but they're all like running in straight lines. It's so good. It's like subliminal. It's so awesome. And the cast, they were all high and drunk the entire time too, to deal with like the fucking grueling conditions too, which is like that. I think that's like what gives that movie its like charm. And then David Patrick Kelly, I mean, especially that scene, the iconic the warriors come out to play. Yeah, so that shit was apparently improvised, which I think is hilarious. Like I think they literally, he just got like high as fuck, and then he just came out like clanking empty bottles out of.
Come out to play.
I definitely think that happens on most movie sets. Like I think you get Willem Dafoe, you're like just act nuts, dude, and he goes like off and acts like a patient. It's pretty awesome, dude. but yeah, so the studio actually they were freaking out before it came out because they were expecting it to be like Saturday Night Fever, but they weren't expecting it to be like a dystopian like I love the soundtrack of that movie too, like the synths, like it was like before Blade Runner. It was like it's like the soundtrack fucking rules. My favorite scene, obviously, the baseball furies. I mean, I think that's everybody's favorite scene when Ajax like I'm gonna grab that bat and shove up your ass like a popsicle stick, and then like yeah, that shit rules, dude. Oh yeah, it's a good movie.